In a tense royal meeting at Clarence House, Queen Camilla proposed stepping into Princess Catherine's public role during her recovery. But Prince William's reaction stopped everything cold. Without raising his voice, he delivered a single line that froze the room and left even King Charles silent. The Queen Consort, stunned, left the meeting visibly shaken. What unfolded behind those palace walls wasn't just disagreement. It was a royal reckoning. Camilla pushed too far, and William made it clear. The line had been crossed. Camilla pushes too far in royal meeting. William's cold reaction shocks all. Inside the quiet formality of Clarence House, a senior royal planning meeting took a sharp, unexpected turn, one that left even the most seasoned courtiers visibly unsettled. The topic was delicate: how to manage public duties during Princess Catherine's ongoing recovery. But when Queen Camilla took the floor, her proposal sent a chill through the room. Camilla calmly suggested expanding her role not just as Queen Consort, but as a temporary stand-in for some of the engagements and causes typically associated with the Princess of Wales. Mental health initiatives, early childhood events, and several patronages were mentioned by name. She positioned the idea as supportive, aimed at keeping the royal presence visible while Catherine remains out of the spotlight. But it wasn't framed with consultation. Kensington Palace had not been informed. Sitting across from her, Prince William froze. He didn't interrupt, didn't raise his voice. But when Camilla finished, the pause that followed was long. Too long. Then William responded, quietly, coldly. "This is not your place, nor your time." The room reportedly fell into stunned silence. Even King Charles, who had been seated beside Camilla, looked down at his notes without speaking. Princess Anne, present as a senior working royal, stayed still. One senior aide later said, "The room didn't breathe for a full minute." Camilla's expression shifted, but she said nothing. Her proposal, which had been carefully drafted by her private secretary and pre-approved for internal press coordination, now hung in the air like smoke. According to insiders, Camilla had also arranged for early press interest around several appearances, suggesting the move was more strategic than spontaneous. William's reaction wasn't just personal. It was protective. For months, he's been shouldering dual responsibilities, fulfilling his public duties while safeguarding his wife's peace during a critical health journey. Camilla's suggestion wasn't just a misstep in timing. To William, it felt like an encroachment on dignity, legacy, and deeply personal territory. Later that evening, one senior courtier remarked, "Camilla mistook absence for vacancy," and William reminded her, "This isn't about visibility, it's about respect." The moment also revealed something more pressing beneath the surface, a growing power tension between the future king and the Queen Consort. One rooted not in protocol, but in values: empathy versus optics, healing versus headlines. No official statement followed the meeting, but by morning, several of Camilla's planned appearances were quietly pulled from the internal calendar. The press office issued a brief, vague notice. The Queen Consort will continue to support the monarchy from behind the scenes during this time. But behind the scenes, the impact of William's words was still echoing. Not in anger, but in unmistakable finality. The message was clear. Some spaces are sacred, even in the monarchy, and Catherine's place is not up for negotiation. What Camilla really wanted: power grab or royal support? In the hours following the meeting at Clarence House, insiders scrambled to understand the full extent of Queen Camilla's proposal, and more importantly, what it truly meant. On the surface, her pitch had been presented as a form of support, to ease the load of public appearances during Catherine's recovery, and to ensure that the monarchy remained visible and active during a period of delicate transition. But beneath the politeness of her phrasing, the details painted a different picture. Camilla reportedly offered to host solo engagements that were previously linked to the Princess of Wales, including high-profile events for children's mental health, maternal well-being, and early childhood development, issues Catherine has spent years personally developing. Notably, some of these events had already been paused out of respect for her current health status. What caused concern was that Camilla's team had pre-arranged media coverage for some of the proposed events, including photo placements and press releases. These materials were discovered to have been drafted before the meeting, indicating a level of preparation that suggested a quiet strategy had already been set in motion. A source close to the palace press team admitted, "It wasn't pitched as a power grab, but it was too polished to be spontaneous. This was a rollout, not a discussion." Internally, some senior aides began to raise questions. Was this truly about supporting the monarchy? Or was Camilla aiming to shift public perception of her role into a more central spotlight? And if so, why now? When Catherine, a deeply loved and respected figure, was most vulnerable. One courtier, long affiliated with Kensington Palace, described it bluntly. "It felt like optics over empathy. Catherine built those causes. You don't step into that space without her hand in it unless you're not planning to step back." What further complicated the optics was Camilla's growing reliance on her own private office, which operates with increasing independence from Buckingham Palace. Some within the institution quietly believe that Camilla sees this period, where Charles's health remains under watch and Catherine is out of sight, as a window to assert her version of queenship. Whether intentional or not, the message was clear. Camilla was stepping forward, and it didn't sit well with those who believe in earned roles, not opportunistic moves. William's swift pushback, the moment the palace froze. While Camilla's proposal had been carefully planned, Prince William's response was instinctive and devastatingly effective. He didn't shout. He didn't interrupt. But the moment she finished speaking, William's silence became the loudest voice in the room. "This is not your place, nor your time," he said quietly. Yet the words landed like stone. His eyes remained locked on Camilla. His voice, according to a senior aide, was calm but cold, carrying the weight of someone who had held back for too long. What followed was absolute stillness. No one moved. King Charles, seated beside Camilla, glanced down at his notes, but did not defend her. Princess Anne, typically a voice of protocol, remained silent. One staffer later said, "The Queen looked stunned. The King looked lost. And William, he looked done." William then added, in slightly firmer tone, "Catherine's absence is not a vacancy to be filled." He reminded the room that his wife had requested a period of privacy and healing, not a substitution. He warned against using Catherine's condition as political space for legacy shaping, a phrase that reportedly struck the heart of Camilla's strategy. Later that evening, William was overheard speaking to a trusted friend. "This is about family, not performance," he said, emphasizing his growing frustration with decisions that prioritize public presentation over private well-being. He wasn't defending only Catherine. He was defending what she represents, a model of service that is personal, grounded, and earned over time. In William's view, replacing that, even temporarily, would confuse the public and cheapen the institution's integrity. The response shocked many in the room. While William is known to be emotionally guarded, this was a rare instance where he expressed his disapproval not through anger, but through icy precision. It was not a prince being protective. It was a future king drawing a line. Catherine's unseen influence, her wishes, her boundaries. Though she wasn't physically present at the meeting, Princess Catherine's voice was never far from the room. According to royal sources, Catherine had previously spoken with William and her private team about how her engagements should be handled during her medical leave. She had expressed a clear wish: no substitutes, no reassignment of key initiatives, and no public rebranding of her work during her absence. She built her patronages slowly and intentionally, a friend shared. She didn't want them used as placeholders for anyone, not even the Queen Consort. Message had been communicated discreetly to Buckingham Palace, and William carried it with him into the Clarence House meeting. When Camilla made her proposal, William saw it not only as a violation of royal etiquette, but as a direct dismissal of Catherine's wishes. Catherine's values remain rooted in quiet service, personal connection, and long-term impact. She had reportedly told William weeks earlier, "It's not the camera that matters, it's the cause." What made the moment at Clarence House so powerful was that Catherine didn't need to speak for the room to hear her. William made sure her boundaries were respected, not just as his wife, but as a senior royal in her own right. Behind the scenes, her influence remains deeply respected by many within the royal foundation, especially among staff who have worked closely with her for over a decade. One senior aide noted, "Catherine may be out of sight, but she's never out of mind." Her restraint is often mistaken for fragility, but those closest to her know it for what it is: discipline, dignity, and quiet power. And in that meeting, even in silence, she helped define the tone of the future. Queen Camilla's frustration behind the scenes. The fallout from Clarence House did not end when the meeting adjourned. Behind closed doors, Queen Camilla was left reeling, not just from the rejection, but from the tone in which it came. According to two aides close to her household, Camilla felt deeply undermined by William's response. Despite years of navigating royal duties with discretion, she had not anticipated such a public and personal rebuke within the royal circle, especially not while standing beside her husband, the king. Later that evening, Camilla reportedly confided in one of her senior aides, "I'm trying to hold the fort, while others hide away." The comment was seen by many as a reference to Catherine's absence, and it did not go down well within Kensington Palace. Though it was said in frustration, it reinforced a growing concern among Catherine's loyal supporters that Camilla was viewing this situation through the lens of duty alone, rather than human sensitivity. Camilla has long believed that the monarchy must be seen to be believed. In her view, royal visibility equals stability, particularly during health-related gaps in leadership. She genuinely thought stepping forward would be seen as service, not ambition. However, insiders from both households note that her insistence on front-facing roles, especially without full consultation, signaled something else: a desire to reframe her legacy during a fragile chapter of royal life. One royal staffer observed, "She misread the room. This wasn't the time to expand. It was the time to support, quietly." In the days following the meeting, Camilla canceled a scheduled appearance at a hospital fundraiser. The reason, listed publicly as a schedule adjustment, was, according to palace insiders, emotional fallout. She had no desire to face photographers after such an internal setback. For the Queen Consort, the frustration wasn't just about being shut down. It was about being reminded sharply that her authority still has boundaries, especially when it comes to Catherine. and William made sure those lines were drawn in permanent ink. King Charles torn. Monarch caught between son and wife. No one in that room wore the weight of the confrontation heavier than King Charles. He remained largely silent during the tense exchange, only offering a few restrained glances between Camilla and William. But insiders say his silence didn't mean indifference. It meant conflict. He was watching his son defend his wife, and his wife assert herself, and for once, he could not side with both. Later that night, Charles reportedly met privately with William at Windsor Castle. The meeting was quiet, away from aides. According to a senior courtier, the king expressed both concern and weariness. He did not defend Camilla's approach, but neither did he criticize it outright. "She's trying," he reportedly said, "and I fear she feels alone in it." Charles is said to be deeply grateful to Camilla for her consistency over the past year, attending engagements, supporting him through his health difficulties, and keeping up appearances despite growing public scrutiny. But he also recognizes the growing rift between her and William, and the long shadow it threatens to cast. One longtime advisor noted, "The king lived through the Diana years. He knows how fast internal family tension becomes public pain." He also knows that William is not impulsive. His reaction at Clarence House was measured, intentional, and rooted in something larger. Charles reportedly told a senior staffer, "He wasn't just defending Catherine, he was defending how the monarchy should feel." Caught between two sides of his own legacy, the loyalty of the wife who supported him into kingship, and the moral compass of the son who will one day wear the crown, Charles is, once again, in the center of a storm he cannot fully control. For now, he walks a tightrope of silence, hoping time and distance will cool the heat. But behind palace doors, the damage may already be done. Anne and Edward's silent judgment. The old guard weighs in. Not every voice was heard during the confrontation, but every reaction mattered. Princess Anne and Prince Edward, present during Camilla's proposal and William's rejection, spoke little, but said much through their silence. Anne, known for her no-nonsense approach and strict adherence to protocol, reportedly glanced at William with unmistakable support as the exchange unfolded. According to one source present, her eyes never left her nephew as he drew the line. Anne didn't need to speak. Her silence was alignment. Anne has always believed in earned roles, and while she has worked cordially with Camilla for years, she reportedly felt that the Queen Consort's proposal was tone-deaf. Her position has always been, if someone needs to step in, they do so with consent and caution, never assumption. Prince Edward, typically neutral in internal disputes, offered a rare post-meeting comment to a close aide, calling the situation unnecessarily bold. Though he did not voice objection during the meeting, he shared privately that he believed William had done the right thing. In recent years, Anne and Edward have grown increasingly close to William and Catherine, stepping in quietly during times of need and offering behind-the-scenes stability. With Charles's health challenges and Harry's distance from the firm, they form the backbone of royal continuity. Neither Anne nor Edward has any interest in power grabs or headline control. They are the embodiment of duty without drama, and to them, Camilla's move felt misaligned with both the moment and the institution. One senior aide described their posture as the old guard looking out for the future. And in that moment, when Camilla's intentions met William's wall, Anne and Edward's quiet loyalty stood as a reminder. Not all strength needs to speak to be understood. Royal aides in crisis mode, media plans scrambled. The ripple effect of Clarence House reached the royal press office within hours. Behind the scenes, senior aides scrambled to contain a situation they hadn't seen coming. Queen Camilla's team, who had already prepped internal media briefings around her proposed public schedule, were suddenly forced to pull appearances, retract press memos, and soften public narratives. Multiple royal correspondents confirmed that scheduled briefings about Camilla, stepping up during Catherine's absence, were cancelled overnight. Instead, communications shifted into neutral territory, statements framed around private recovery and behind-the-scenes support rather than public-facing leadership. One source from the communications wing admitted, "Everything changed in less than 24 hours. It went from rollout to damage control." The decision to pre-frame Camilla's expanded presence without formal internal approval is now being called a misjudgment by many inside the palace. Aides loyal to Kensington Palace were reportedly furious, claiming they had received no prior notice of Camilla's intentions, let alone her media strategy. This communication breach revealed more than misalignment. It exposed the divide between royal households. With Camilla increasingly managing her own messaging, and William and Catherine's team working from a place of privacy and respect, the result was chaos. Staffers were now divided, not just in strategy, but in loyalty. One insider put it bluntly, "It's two different monarchies trying to speak through one palace, and the voices aren't in harmony." Plans to reschedule Camilla's pulled events are on hold. For now, the palace has reverted to low-risk engagements and subtle appearances, avoiding anything that could stir further scrutiny. The aide's focus has shifted, not on promoting visibility, but preserving royal credibility amid an increasingly fragile dynamic. Public senses the rift. Loyalty rallies around Catherine. As the dust began to settle internally, the public began to speak, loudly and with clarity. Within hours of press leaks surrounding the Clarence House incident, #StandWith, Catherine began trending on social media. The overwhelming narrative, support for William's quiet defense of his wife, and concern that history was, once again, trying to rewrite the royal feminine narrative. Commentators quickly shifted tone. What began as speculation over Camilla taking charge quickly turned into headlines questioning her motives. From tabloids to royal analysts, the mood was unanimous. This wasn't leadership. It was overreach. Online, comparisons to Princess Diana flooded comment sections. Images of Catherine in hospital visits were posted side by side with photos of Diana comforting children. The message was clear: you don't replace presence with position. Public respect for Catherine has never solely rested on title. It's been built on authenticity, quiet empathy, and years of trust. Even in absence, her influence held, and the public felt protective. One viral tweet read, "Catherine earned every inch of her role. You can't step into it. You can only respect it." Meanwhile, William's calm but direct handling of the situation only strengthened public opinion. For many, it proved he wasn't just heir to the throne. He was guardian of its heart. Camilla's press coverage, however, took a hit. Approval polls dipped noticeably among younger voters and female audiences. The Queen Consort's image, already a complex one, suffered under the perception of overstepping boundaries. Inside the palace, these shifts were noted with concern. As one aide commented, "It's not just about controlling the story anymore. The people are writing their own." Where the royal family goes from here, a line has been drawn. The meeting at Clarence House may be over, but its aftermath continues to reshape the landscape of the royal household. According to insiders, A follow-up family meeting is now in the works, but with one notable change: Camilla will not be attending. It's being structured around recalibration, not confrontation. William, Charles, Anne, and Edward are said to be working toward a clearer internal framework for public duties during Catherine's recovery. William and Charles are also expected to hold a one-on-one discussion, without press aides or private secretaries. Their aim: to reaffirm shared priorities and to ensure that no future proposals, even well-intended ones, bypass the family's emotional boundaries. Catherine, though not at the table, is still at the center. Her recovery continues privately, but her voice remains active, communicated through letters, quiet meetings, and the unwavering support of her staff. William, increasingly seen as the emotional and institutional protector, is stepping into a role once imagined for his mother. Not just a figurehead, but a force of moral clarity within a complicated institution. Camilla's influence, once subtly growing in public-facing roles, may now pull back to more ceremonial territory. Insiders say she's reassessing her next steps, aware that the public and her own family have spoken. One veteran palace official, reflecting on the situation, said, "The crown survives not through power, but through balance. And this week, that balance was tested."
The monarchy moves forward, but not without scars. The events behind palace doors didn't just reveal a clash of roles. They exposed the emotional truths that hierarchy tries to hide.
As the gates of Clarence House close on this chapter, one fact remains clear: the line has been drawn, and the next steps, or silences, will shape what kind of crown William eventually inherits. As palace aides regroup and the media narrative quietly shifts, one truth echoes beyond the walls of Clarence House. Prince William is no longer just the heir. He's become the protector of legacy, of dignity, and of the woman who has quietly defined the modern monarchy. Camilla's ambition, however well-intended, collided with an institution still haunted by its past and guarded by those determined not to repeat it. In defending Catherine, William defended more than a title. He defended values that can't be delegated or substituted. Behind the silence, alliances are forming, roles are being reconsidered, and the monarchy stands on a delicate balance between tradition and personal boundaries. Camilla may remain queen consort in name, but her influence now faces quiet scrutiny. And Catherine, even in absence, remains the monarchy's emotional anchor. A single moment of resistance may have redrawn the lines within the firm, lines that no crown can simply erase.